ink holders are also going to be joining later. So today we're going to be looking at how to integrate data 365 CRM with Power BI. It's not really much of well, it depends on if you have actually worked on this previously, or if you have a little bit of knowledge on data analysis. So this would actually help you to, to see practically how to use some of this reporting to analyze data, CRM data. Without wasting much of the time, I'll just share my screen and then we can kick off from there. So I remain the host, FA, Egomu. Our agenda is pretty straightforward. Just going to be looking at the overview of Power BI and to integrate Power BI to CRM, and then basic reporting, how to do some visualizations, basic stuff. We're not going to be doing much. We're not even going to be looking at entity relationship. I don't think we might look at that, but yeah, a good way to start. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, let's go into D365 environment. So as you can see on the screen here, I've got my D365 CRM environment open. Basically, what you are seeing is a table called the applications table. So you can see all the applications that have been made by, these are the dummy data, they are sample data, basically just recreated them uh, just to see how we can, connect Power BI to this. And if I open that one of those records, there's not much about it. Just shows you basic applications and the applications table. You can see the form, the fields, and things like that. You can see that there's a lookup to the contact table as well. So you can see the contact that made that application. So without wasting time, let's see how we actually do this integration. There are several ways you can connect Power BI to CRM. You can use a native Dynamics connector. You can use the API, to connect it. So if you go to the advanced settings of CRM, you'll be able to find the API interface URL. You can pick that up and then use that to connect to the Dynamics environment. Power BI itself can be connected to more than one data source. You can connect it to Business Central, whatever it is you want to connect to be fair, ERP, basically, Sage, Salesforce, even SharePoint, SQL Server, database on-prem, and then do those analyses. But in this case, we're going to be connected to Dataverse so that we can see how we can link that up near real time, and then you can see how that works. Okay. With that being said, I've just pulled up I've downloaded the um, Power BI for desktop. It's not difficult. You can just go to www.powerbI, or you can just download it directly from your Microsoft Store. As you can see here, I've downloaded this from my Microsoft Store. So once you download it, just open that. So it's not difficult. So I've not done anything crazy. I've not even signed in. So, so the first thing I want to do probably is to sign in here. So, Just trying to sign in. Just do this. So you can see that I've signed in. You can see right at the top here, it's not showing that I have not signed into this Power BI. Uh, so you can have, you need a license for Power BI because, yeah, you can have that as a standalone. You can have that part of your 365 licenses. Um, yeah, and there are several ways you can make payments for that. Can come as part of your subscription or, you can do pay as you go. Yeah, generally you can have that. So what we want to do here now, now that we are starting to Power BI, we want to connect to our data source. So to connect to our data source, all we need to do is to say get data. So we can decide to get data from Excel, making it, you know, yeah, it's an easy way. So if you have your data in Excel already, you could just get your data from Excel. Um, but in this case, we want to connect to uh, Dynamics Dataverse. So this is Dataverse. So you select Dataverse. Introducing a new get data experience. Oh, that's pretty cool. But for now, can leave that. Let's just use the old method. So it's telling us to connect to Dataverse itself by saying we are not signing, so we can sign in to Dataverse. Oh no. Um, so for accounts, hmm, if you continue to see this, tries to be here, signing experience, blah blah blah. Like this. See if this would work. Basically, we're just trying to sign to into Dataverse. That's the data source, location of the data source. So, and then let's just connect. So now we have connected to our data source. Remember, don't forget, so it has brought this up. So you can see this is this is the environment we're using, the gummies one, and this is the table. So we might want to connect to the contact table and then the applications table just to see. Uh, yeah, we want to do that. But let's bring this back. So this is the one we just let's just find the gummies one. So I've connected that. So if we expand this, we can get the tables for that particular environment. So it's just trying to move this up. Another way you could have done this, we could just export the data to Excel and then just import the Excel into Power BI and then use that to do the analysis. So for now, tables that we need. uh, the applications table. Just okay, this is it. Applications table. Yeah, we could just use that for now. I mean, we're not doing much. We just want this course or this section is basically an introduction, trying to show us how we can load our data, into Power BI directly from data vaults, and then we can have a near real-time reporting. So basically, when a record is created in data vaults or Dynamics CRM, you could do a refresh, and then you can see that change on your report. Also, you could do some scheduling, right? You can schedule the refresh interval just so that you can get the latest information. The data in the preview has been truncated due to the size limit. Okay, that's fine. Let's just see what we have here. Okay. What we could do, we could come in here and we could try to see what our table is. So you can look at directly at the schema here. You can see that this is the name of the table. Clock CD, that gives you an idea that we are picking the right, entity. Then directly from this, you can transform your data, do analysis before you load it into Power BI, but we will just load it directly. There are pending changes in the query that has to be applied. Condition settings, blah, blah, blah. Let's just import it and see. Shouldn't make it shouldn't spoil anything. So, quick one. Currently, everything we have been doing has been on Power BI desktop. This is the desktop version of Power BI. So we have the Power BI service and the Power BI desktop. So if I go back here, I could show you the service. So this is the Power BI service because this is Power BI online. So you can see your work. Yeah, you can see your reports or dashboards and things like that. But it makes more sense, right, when you're doing this to work on the desktop version first before you load that data or publish it into Power BI Online, and then you can then share that with your users of the team. So it's still loading. It and loaded 20 rows. You can see that already. Yeah, directly from here, the data side, you can see the table already loaded, and then you can see if you expand this a bit, you could see all the table, the columns of that table. Also, you could see here how this has been arranged. Then you can see the report view. There are several views for in Power. There are several views in Power BI. So this is the report view. Basically, this is where you do your reporting, and this is where you see the visuals. This is the table view. Basically, this is where you see your table data. So as you can see, there are 20 rows. If I go back here, you could also see that there are 20 rows in my data mass table. So it shows that we are on the right track. So you can see the model view. Basically, this shows you your model. If you have more than one table that are related. So when I was connecting, or I've used the word connect now, but basically integrating Power BI at that point where I was selecting a table that I wanted to import into Power BI. If you select more tables or entities, you could see all of them here, and then you can do the relationship mappings and all that. So this is where you do your relationship mapping. At the moment, it says show the database in the header, whether applicable, show related fields when the class collapse. Yeah, yeah, there's nothing really much to do here. Uh, so you have the DAS formula. If you want to do something using that formula, TMGN view as well. But this one's, yeah, if you want to do some advanced stuff. Or we'll go back to this. If you want to do some transformation, you could do that here. But now at the moment, we don't want to transform our data. If you still want to transform, you could do that. We just want to do some reporting so that you could see how to do that, and then you could make good visuals. So one thing we could do, we could directly just pull our data out. So these are the visuals. Okay, I can open this as well. Um, so I could just pull, for example, I could pull this pie chart, or you could just select that. So it drops this on the report. Okay, and then you could do whatever you want to do with it. So this report visuals has to be dropped on the report view. All you then need to do is to then drag and drop the columns that you want on this report. For example, if I want to see all my applications, um, so I could put this, I could drag this to the value. So I want to see all my application, the count of all my applications. Just I can count. Then on the legend, I could say I want to see um, the applicant basically. I could take this and put here as a legend. So basically, the report is basically telling me for these particular applicants, these are all the applications this particular applicant has made, 6 of them, and it covers 30% of, you know, basically this applicant has made more applications than the others. You can see more details if you want to add. You can just drag something here. For example, I can drag the offer into the details view. So it gives it more details, but I don't want that. You could do a whole lot of things, right? There are other ways you could have also done this. You could have dragged the fields on the directly on the report view, and then before making the visuals. Okay, that's being said. What else can we do here? We could so maybe we want to look at, so let's 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 take for example, we want to use a bar chart. This is a stack bar chart. So we could just click on that and it tells us the applicants against uh the applications. So basically you can see this applicant has made, you can see the number of applications has made one, and you can see automatically or directly law, Smith has made 6 applications. So that's one way you could do that. You can also format the visuals. For example, if we go to the data label, so for example, we could turn it on. We could turn on the data label and do some things in there. But what I want to try to do is a column. For example, we could change the column to probably red, and you see automatically this changes to red. So this is where you do your formatting basically. So if I go back here, I can change this to this, I can change this to this to this. So how do you see the difference? For example, if I add the created one, or let's add the offer, let's just put that on So the legend is not so. We could remove this. So instead of the applicant here, we could we could we could take this as and take the applicant, put that in the legend, take the offer and then put that on the Y as is, or we can take that as put the application on the Y as is, and then take the offer, put that on the X as is. So it's just a way to play with this. We are just playing with that. Okay. Yeah. So there are a lot of things you could do. You could do more and more with this. You can also go to formatting. For example, the grid lines. You could make it thicker. You could make it bolder. It's your choice. Okay, we'll remove it. Probably have to put it so that we can see exactly what that looks like. We can increase the weights. So that makes it look a little bit more readable, so you can see directly. Not the bar chart itself. So there are a lot of things you can do. You can go to the general, make changes to the effect, add an effect to it. So it's just there's a whole lot you can do with this, the visuals, shadows, the data format. So currently it's giving us the colors. Because they do you want it to be percentage? So it is the percentage and over. To see how this percentage look like, for example, if we go back to pie chart, you see it's bringing it out in percentage format. So this is how you could make a simple report. We could do another one, for example, the offer one. We could just drag offer onto here. So some of offer. We can always rename these. We can rename what is the right up here as the text, the title of it. We can always do that. So, but I'm just telling you that instead of so when we did the first one, we dragged the visuals on the report before making the changes. But then we can also drag this directly from here and directly on the report. So we have dragged the offer in here. We could use the owner or created on. I probably don't want to use created on. So what's probably we could do created on. So let's just drag created on onto the okay, that's fine. Shouldn't be here. Created on should be here. Okay. Okay. Trying to show. So if you look at this, right, just so you get an idea. So this is showing when the offer were made. So basically all the applications based on the offer, right? So one thing we could do to make it look that's the legend. We could take the applications and just put it as a legend. Probably not making much sense to it. So basically, this is showing when those offers. So the application has status, right? So if I go back in here, I could show you clearly. So these are the various statuses, right? I could just pick out that from A to Z. So this 2005. Basically, you can see there are about three of those that have, declined. Those that have been drawn are those where the offer have been provided. So now that we have this, so if you look at this is saying these were created, about 12 of those they created, you know, 14th of June, and the other ones created. What we can do here, you can see here the created one has by default for a date feed. You have these various options that comes with it as an hierarchy. So if I expand this, you'll see it as a data hierarchy. So one thing we could do, I could take off the year, I could take off the quarter, I could take off the month. So what that does is that it tells me 15 of those, or only 15, these about 14 of these offers were made, and only 25th, you know, 26th of these were made, I think this particular day. So you get an idea of what we are trying to do, I believe so. So what they need to do here, once you are done making changes to your report or building your report and you're happy, the next thing you need to do is to publish this uh, uh, to Power BI online or Power BI service. So directly you can publish this. So do you want to save your changes? Yeah, you could save it. So probably just want to save that. Save as this device. You just put that on my desktop and then colors just one, and then just save it. Okay, that's fine. Then publish. So we're going to publish it. Yeah, fine. Save it, publish. So we are publishing it now. So I want to publish to my workspace. So these are the various workspaces. So if I go back here, you can see my workspace. Uh, so this is the one I created previously, but this is my workspace. So let's go here and then publish to my workspace and just select that. So it is publishing it at the moment. So it has succeeded, and directly you can open it using this link. So I published this report from the Power BI desktop after building the report directly to Power BI service online. So if I go into Power BI, yeah, that's fine. So if I go to the online now, there's nothing here at the moment, right? So we could just do a refresh. Probably going to take a bit. It's showing that I'm currently logged in. Yeah, currently logged in. Okay, you know what? I could close data. Uh, close that down. Yeah, that just open it directly from the link. Anyways, probably take a bit of time to load up. So we could just go to report, to be fair. So I'm just going to try to pull that out. Give it a little bit of time to load. Now it has come. So you can see here test one. You can see it was created at this time. You can see the report and you can see the schematic model. And if I open it directly from here, you will see the report loaded. So this report has been loaded. And then you could do whatever you want to do with this. You can share it with your users, or you can try for free because I don't have a license. But then you can share it with the users that you want directly, and then you can build a dashboard. So what we want to do next is, because this is currently in Power BI, and if your users are in CRM making use of CRM, now that you have built a report, you can push it back to CRM. How do you do that? Uh, so we could just do pin to a dashboard. Okay, and it's telling you to create a new dashboard, and we can call this Power BI private training. Call that. And we can just pin it to live. Okay, so now I've pinned this, right? So you could come in here and you can see that, right? So that's the dashboard that you have created, Power BI dashboard. Okay. Now that you have your dashboard, what do you then do? Go back to CRM. So if we want to see, okay, that's something I haven't done. I haven't added the dashboard here. But a good way you could see this is, let me switch to another application, but then we could see that the ideal thing to do is to add a dashboard in here and then just pin that to it. So I could just go into the sales org, right? Just to show us how this works. How you would normally link that back. So initially we pick the data from data ones, pull that into Power BI, created a report in Power BI desktop, published it back to Power BI online. When it was in Power BI online, created the report, added it to the dashboard. Now we are pushing it back into CRM so that our users can see the visuals. So what you do, just go to dashboards, create a new dashboard. Okay, so we don't have, because it's not linked to this. Okay, in another video, probably I have to do that. But yeah, that's how you would want to do this. Okay, let's do something. I'm gonna go to advanced settings, show you how we can get this done. For now, just bear with me 1 minute. We can bring this out. So we are just trying to make a few changes so we can keep going. So yeah, probably have to make a separate video for that, so that we can see how we could link back the dashboard into Power BI. I hope the video was educative enough. The part 2 of this will be released shortly after this, so you can see how the Power BI test or dashboard or if links back into CRM, and the users, they don't need to go into Power BI, or even if you don't want to accept Power BI license, you might still need to have license to Power BI, to be fair. Then you just have to consume it directly within CRM and you don't need to move or keep switching to see what the report looks like. Anyways, thank you very much, and stay in touch.